Indigenous people and their way of life took center stage last week at the United Nations COP30 in Brazil. Joe Allgood, he spoke with one of the representatives of the Arctic's Inuit populations. Joe, I'm kind of curious your takeaway from the conference. Not only that, but first, what is COP30?
Yeah, General, it's quite a mouthful. This was the 30th conference of the parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. You can see why they abbreviated it to just COP. As for the takeaways, the people I spoke to said COP30 saw some significant and historic first in the discussion of indigenous rights and climate change. In Brazil, surrounded by the world's largest rainforest, world leaders, climate activists, and indigenous people discussed the future of the Amazon, the Arctic, and everything in between.
What we keep focusing on here is that what we do in the Arctic affects the rest of the world, and what happens in the rest of the world affects us.
Representing over 180,000 Inuit people from Greenland, Canada, Russia, and Alaska, Sarah Olsvig fought for indigenous rights at COP30.
And we have to make sure that these international negotiations also take into account our needs and our rights as Inuit, as state leaders are, working so hard these weeks to find solutions to these challenges.
Here in Alaska,
the Yerama permafrost, the cooling system of the planet, and it's breaking down. We have a problem, and it's a global problem.
Member states of the Paris Agreement settled on a, quote, just transition from fossil fuels to clean energy, including a specific provision for indigenous consent during resource development.
It's a historic standalone paragraph affirming the rights of indigenous peoples.
But, Olsvig said, much was left on the cutting room floor, leaving out significant safeguards.
And yet, we find common ground. We can mirror ourselves in the challenges we face, in the violations we've been through, in the fact that we still come to these meetings and we still stand with our head held high.
The common thread is hope. I think especially indigenous people who still practice their cultures, they bring hope to the table because they still interact with nature in such a harmonious way that itself is hope.
Joe, great report, great breakdown of the conference there. In that you mentioned the Paris Climate Accords. Now, I know the United States was in at one point, we got pulled out, now we're getting pulled back in. Do you know kind of where we're at with that right now?
Yeah, you're exactly right. So Trump pulled out of the Paris agreements during his first term, only for Biden to re-enter the agreement. As it stands now, the U.S. is set to withdraw from the agreement on the 27th of January next year.
All right, Joe.